I'm going to show you how to work with stitch markers. Now most people have, but just for the few of you who haven't used stitch markers before, unfortunately I don't have with me today the ones that look like safety pins. I'll have a sample of them for the class to show up to the camera, but for today I didn't have any stitch markers at all here with me, so unbelievable it might be. I'm using a jump ring. I don't normally recommend these for knitting because they've got that little hole right here that can kind of get snagged on your work. But, and then again, I grabbed another jump ring, but you can see the hole a bit bigger here. That can snag your yarn. So it's better to get a stitch marker that is either one of the safety pin stitch markers, a locking stitch marker, or get them and they've got beads right there that are glued over that opening so they can help you stop that snag from happening on your work. I'm going to knit across and add this stitch marker. I'm using the bigger one just so that it might be easier for you to see. So I'm knitting along and it'll tell me in my pattern to PM, which is place marker. So I'm just going to place my marker right here. And then I'm going to knit along as normal. And it tells me to place marker. Knit that stitch, and now it says PM, time to place another marker. All right. So now you can see the markers are in my work here. It's really important that you don't knit these in as you go along because they'll become part of the fabric. These ones here I can actually twist and open up if they get stuck in the fabric. The locking stitch markers or the safety pin stitch markers you can also take out of the fabric if they get stuck in. So now how do I slip my markers? Because the next instruction you might see is SM, which is slip marker. So I'm going to purl across, or whatever your stitch is. I'm purling across to my stitch marker. My dog just got freaked out by something. All right. So I've come to my stitch marker and it says SM, slip marker. Sometimes it won't. Sometimes it won't say SM and it'll just assume you know to slip the stitch marker. So when you come to your stitch marker, all you're doing is moving that stitch marker onto the next needle before you knit your stitch. So just sliding from one needle to the next one before you knit your stitch. And now you knit your stitch as normal, or purl your stitch in this case. I got purling. All right, so I come to my next stitch marker and it says to slip my stitch. I'm just going to move it from one needle onto the other and continue. So I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of what happens if you forget to slip your marker. So I'm knitting along and I don't slip this marker, I knit the next stitch. Okay? But I'm going to slip this one. My dog is dancing around in the background. I have no idea why. You might hear a little woof from her. She's very quiet most of the time, so I don't know. Here we go. So I'm purling back across. When I come to my stitch marker, this one, it's a slip marker, SM. I'm going to slip it from one needle to the next, and then I'm going to knit my stitch. All right, and you'll see what happened when I did not slip my marker is it ended up being knit into my work. So now, as I go along, if I can't slip that marker anymore, it's trapped in the fabric. So this is where if you had a safety pin one, you just open it up and you can slide it off. In this case, I don't have a safety pin one, but it's got a pretty big hole, so I might be able to slide it out like that. All right,